Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how sometimes learning English can feel like you're drowning in a sea of grammar rules and confusing vocabulary?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, get ready because today's deep dive might just change your whole perspective.
Ooh, exciting.
We're taking a look at this really popular YouTube video. It's called Learn English Like a Baby.
Like a baby.
Yep, you heard that right. And get this, one of the biggest takeaways is that you might need way fewer words than you think for everyday conversation.
Really? That's pretty interesting.
I know, right? Okay, so the video jumps right in and tackles this big myth. The idea that grammar has to be the first thing you focus on. Like spending hours and hours just memorizing verb conjugations before you even try to, actually have a conversation.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a problem.
Right. But this video says that focusing on grammar too early can actually slow you down.
Makes sense.
So it's like imagine trying to learn how to dance by reading a textbook on, I don't know, biomechanics.
Oh, wow, that's a good analogy.
You'd be so bogged down in all the technical stuff that you'd never actually hit the dance floor.
Totally. You just got to feel the music and move.
Exactly. And that's what this video is all about, immersion.
Yeah.
Just like how babies experience language, they pick up the patterns naturally way before they even know what a grammar rule is.
It's true. Babies are like little language sponges.
So how do we, actually do that? I mean, we can't exactly go back to being babies, right?
Right. Of course not. But we can kind of mimic that immersion process.
Oh, okay. So how would we do that?
Well, think about how a baby learns. They're constantly surrounded by language, right? Like they hear their parents or caregivers talking, singing, reading all the time. So one of the key takeaways here is to surround yourself with English as much as you can.
For podcasts, music, movies, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And don't just passively listen. The video gives this great tip. Try pausing and repeating phrases while you're watching videos.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It really helps you internalize the natural rhythm and flow of the language, almost like you're building muscle memory, but for your mouth.
I love that. So you're training your tongue to dance instead of your feet.
Exactly.
And speaking of practice, this video is all about repetition, which actually, when you think about it, makes total sense. Babies repeat sounds and phrases all the time and somehow they figure it all out.
Yeah, it might sound kind of boring, but repetition is like a brain hack. It's how we learn.
Okay, so explain that a little more. Why does repetition work so well?
Okay, so think of your brain like a forest. Every time you repeat a word or a phrase, it's like you're carving out a path through those trees.
Okay, I like that visual.
The more you repeat it, the clearer and stronger that path becomes, so it's easier to find your way back.
Oh, so it's like you're creating a shortcut in your brain.
Exactly. It makes it easier to recall and use the language without even thinking about it.
That makes a lot of sense. And I noticed that the video also suggests using dictation exercises, to boost listening and writing skills at the same time. Have you ever used those?
Yeah, actually. They can be super helpful, especially the ones that focus on high-frequency vocabulary.
High frequency meaning?
Like the words you'll use most often in everyday conversation, the ones you really gotta know.
Oh, right, the essentials.
And the video actually links to some websites that have these kinds of exercises.
Oh, cool. I checked out that link, and there's a ton of stuff on there. It even breaks down some of the key terms like absorb, mimic, and intonation.
Yeah, I saw that. It's not just about learning the words themselves, but also understanding how they're used in different situations, the nuances of pronunciation, even things like body language.
Wow, so it's more than just words on a page.
Exactly. It's all about sounding natural and fluent, like you really know what you're doing.
Okay, get ready for this. One of the things this video encourages is responding like a baby.
Wait,
I know it sounds a little crazy, but hear me out. Babies communicate with single words or short phrases, and you know what? That's totally fine for learners too.
oh, I see what you mean.
We don't expect a baby to, deliver a perfectly grammatically correct sentence right away.
Right, they just point and say baba or something.
Ah, exactly. And we shouldn't expect that of ourselves as language learners either. There's this really great quote in the video. It says, "Don't overthink it. Just try speaking even if you make mistakes."
That's so true. It's about progress, not perfection.
And honestly, even native English speakers use simple phrases all the time. It's about getting your point across, not about sounding like a Shakespearean actor.
So true, and it makes the whole learning process seem a lot less intimidating.
Right. This whole baby steps approach makes it feel much more manageable.
It's less overwhelming for sure.
And speaking of babies, the video talks about this really interesting idea of a language parent.
A language parent? What's that?
So just like a baby has parents who, patiently guide their language development, we as learners can also benefit from having someone like that in our lives.
Oh, okay, I see. So like a mentor or a guide who can help you along the way.
Exactly. Someone who can provide gentle correction and natural language input without making you feel, self-conscious or stupid.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Having that kind of support makes a big difference.
Right. And the video actually gives some tips on how to find your own language parent, like finding a language exchange partner or even a tutor.
That's a great idea. Having that personalized feedback and support can really accelerate your learning.
Okay, now this next technique might sound a little out there, but trust me, it's a game changer. The video calls it narrate your day.
Narrate your day.
Yeah, basically you just describe everything you're doing in English as you go about your daily routine.
Oh, interesting. So like, I am brushing my teeth. I am making breakfast.
Uh-huh, exactly. And, the video points out that babies actually experience this all the time. Their caregivers constantly narrate what's happening around them, like, we're putting on your shoes, or look at that cute dotty.
Right. It helps them connect the words with their actual experiences.
And we can apply that same idea to our own learning. By narrating our day, we're actively engaging with the language, practicing sentence construction, and expanding our vocabulary in a really natural way.
That's a pretty cool technique. And it doesn't require any extra time or effort. You're just incorporating English into your everyday life.
And it's completely free. You can do it anywhere, anytime.
Love it. It's like you have a built-in English commentator for your day.
Okay, are you ready for the big reveal? The thing that absolutely blew my mind when I first saw this video.
Yeah, hit me with it.
It turns out you only need about 2,000 words to understand 90% of everyday English conversations.
Whoa, really? Only 2,000?
I know. It's crazy, right? You don't need to memorize the entire dictionary to be fluent.
That is such a relief. It makes the whole process seem so much less daunting.
Right. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by this massive vocabulary, you could just focus your energy on mastering those core 2,000 words that will actually get you the furthest.
That's so much more manageable. It's like having a master key that unlocks most of the doors you'll encounter in daily life.
Exactly. You don't need every key on the keychain, just the ones that'll get you where you need to go.
And it makes learning English feel so much more achievable. Like you start seeing real progress much faster, which can be a huge motivator to keep going.
Absolutely. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Learning like a baby sounds kind of, well, childish.
Haha, yeah, a little bit.
But it's not about babbling incoherently or sucking on a pacifier or anything like that.
Right, it's not about literally being a baby again.
It's about tapping into those natural learning processes that we all used when we were kids. Babies are fearless communicators. They're not afraid to experiment with sounds, make mistakes, and just try things out.
It's that sense of playfulness and curiosity that we often lose as adults.
And it's so important for learning anything new, especially a language.
And babies are incredibly persistent. Like they don't give up easily. They keep practicing until they get it right.
That's a good point. Maybe we could all learn a little something from that kind of determination.
Definitely.
So it's not just about mimicking babies, it's about tapping into those core learning principles that come naturally to us. It's about immersing ourselves in the language, practicing consistently, and not being afraid to mess up.
And having fun along the way. Learning a language shouldn't feel like a chore.
Exactly. It should be an enjoyable journey of discovery. So before we wrap up this first part, I have a question for you and for all of our listeners out there. What's one small step you can take today inspired by this whole learn like a baby approach?
That's a good question. It could be something as simple as describing what you're doing while you're making coffee in the morning or greeting your neighbor with a friendly hello.
Oh, I like that. Simple, easy things to incorporate into your daily routine.
It doesn't have to be anything grand or complicated. The important thing is to just start incorporating English into your daily life in small, manageable ways.
It's all about those baby steps, right?
Yeah.
Each one brings you a little bit closer to fluency.
And remember, every mistake is a chance to learn and grow. Don't be afraid to embrace those mistakes, laugh at yourself, and keep trying.
That's such a key point. Learning English, or any language for that matter, is a journey. It's not about reaching some perfect destination. It's about the process of getting there.
Exactly. And there will be ups and downs, moments of frustration, moments of triumph. But the most important thing is to enjoy the ride, embrace the challenge, and never stop learning.
Beautifully said. And you know what? Maybe one day you'll be the one sharing your learn English like a baby tips with others. inspiring them to start their own language learning adventures.
What a cool thought to be able to help others on their journey.
So to everyone out there who's on this path of learning English, we're cheering you on every step of the way. Remember, you have the power to unlock fluency. Embrace your inner child, find joy in the process, and never give up on your dreams.
Yes. Happy learning, everyone.
And that wraps up the first part of our deep dive into learning English like a baby.
Yeah, it's like you said, working smarter, not harder. Those 2,000 words are like the foundation you build everything else on.
Yeah.
Once you've really got those down, you can start adding in, more specific vocabulary as you need it.
Right, it's like you're building a house. You got to start
Really?
with a strong base before you can add all the fancy stuff on top.
Exactly. And it makes the whole process of learning English feel way less overwhelming. You start seeing results much faster, which can be a really big motivator to keep going.
Oh, for sure. It's so encouraging to feel like you're actually making progress.
Totally. Now, I know what some people might be thinking when they hear this whole learn English like a baby idea. It sounds a little, well, childish.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, are we supposed to be crawling around and babbling all day?
Right? But that's not what it's about at all. It's not about literally being a baby again.
Okay, good. Because I don't think I could fit into my old baby clothes anymore.
Me neither. But seriously, it's about tapping into those natural learning processes that we all used when we were kids. Babies are fearless when it comes to communication. They're
Mm.
not afraid to experiment with sounds, to make mistakes, to just try things out.
It's like they don't even realize they could be making mistakes. They're just having fun with it.
Exactly. And that's something we often lose as adults, that sense of playfulness and curiosity.
Yeah, we get so caught up in trying to be perfect that we forget to just enjoy the process.
And that can really hinder our learning, especially with language. You got to be willing to put yourself out there and make mistakes.
And you know what else babies are really good at? Being persistent.
Hmm.
Like, they don't give up easily. They keep practicing and trying until they get it right.
Oh, yeah. That's a huge one. Maybe we could all benefit from channeling a little bit of that baby-like determination.
For sure. So it's not just about mimicking babies. It's about remembering how we learned as children and applying those same principles to our adult lives.
Exactly. Like you said, immersing ourselves in the language, practicing consistently, not being afraid to mess up.
And having fun while we're at it.
Yeah.
Learning new language should be an enjoyable journey.
Absolutely. It shouldn't feel like a chore or a burden.
Speaking of journeys, this whole deep dive has been quite a ride. So far, we've talked about debunking grammar myths, the power of repetition, embracing those baby steps.
And of course, the surprising fact that you really don't need to know that many words to hold a basic conversation.
Right. Just those essential 2,000 words can get you pretty far. But before we jump into the final part of our deep dive, I want to take a moment to connect with our listeners.
Yeah. What's on your mind?
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm curious to know what's resonated with you all the most. What are some of the key takeaways you're planning to apply to your own language learning journey?
Yeah. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you're thinking.
And remember, you're not alone in this. We're all on this journey together. And even though learning a new language can feel challenging at times, it's important to remember why you started in the first place.
What are your goals? What do you hope to achieve by learning English? Keep those things in mind and let them fuel your motivation.
And don't forget to celebrate your successes. No matter how small they may seem, every step forward is worth acknowledging.
You got this. Keep pushing forward. Embrace those baby steps and have fun along the way.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into this whole learn English like a baby thing.
I think this episode has really given us some fresh perspectives on how we approach language learning. It's not just about memorizing grammar rules and vocabulary lists anymore.
Right. It's about tapping into those natural learning instincts that we all have. It's
Mm.
about being curious, playful, and persistent, just like babies.
Exactly. And, one of the things that really stood out to me from this video is the emphasis on community. You don't have to do this alone.
Yeah, finding a language partner, a tutor, or even just a supportive online community can make a huge difference. It's like having a built-in cheer squad to keep you motivated and accountable.
Totally. And it's a great way to share your experiences, celebrate your successes, and even just commiserate over those tricky grammar rules that we all struggle with sometimes.
Haha. Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, learning English, or any language for that matter, should be an enjoyable experience.
Absolutely. It shouldn't feel like a chore. It should be something that you look forward to, something that brings you joy and a sense of accomplishment.
And remember, every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there, experiment, try new things, and embrace those inevitable blunders.
Yeah, laugh at yourself, dust yourself off, and keep going. You got this.
And if you ever start to feel discouraged, remember why you started learning English in the first place. Think about your goals, your dreams, and the amazing things you'll be able to do once you achieve fluency.
It's all about keeping that big picture in mind and letting it fuel your motivation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought. Don't underestimate the power of those baby steps. Every little bit of effort you put in, every word you learn, every conversation you have brings you closer to your ultimate goal.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one inspiring others with your language learning journey, sharing your tips and tricks, and helping them unlock their own potential.
What an amazing thought. So to all of you out there who are on this path of learning English, we're so proud of you. Keep up the fantastic work. Embrace the challenge, have fun, and never stop exploring the incredible world of language.
Happy learning, everyone. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
Bye for now.